Hey, what's up guys? I'm glad that you joined me for another video for your one-stop source for everything to do with your home, your relationships. We talk about the Enneagram, we talk about marriage, parenting, all these things to make your life better and to make you better at life. And I don't claim to have all the answers. Lord knows I'm still a work in progress, but I'm always seeking answers and always growing and learning and trying to better myself as a father and as a husband and as a person. And I know you are too. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this video. And today we are continuing our journey through this study, Take Back Your Marriage by William Dougherty. And we're going to be talking today about resisting family and friends who are trying to undermine your marriage. And you know, there's a lot of ways in which your family and friends may not be necessarily friends of your marriage. They may be your friends. They may be close to you, and they want you to be happy, quote unquote. They want you to be happy. And they could have a very bitter attitude toward marriage themselves. Maybe they've had a difficult marriage, or they weren't happy in the marriage that they've been in. And so they kind of have this disdain for married life, or kind of like all husbands are jerks or all wives are nags, and so they love you and they like you and they want to be your friend, but they just don't like marriage in general, and so or they don't like being tied to a spouse themselves, and so they just think of that as kind of a distasteful thing. And so maybe they've stopped working long ago in their own marriage, or they've given up their marriage, or long ago they've quit, investing any energy into their marriage. And so they love to talk about how bad your marriage is because it just validates their own, conclusions about themselves. Or if their marriage has come to an end, there may be sort of an underlying desire to see other people's marriage come to an end, because in some ways it could kind of validate the decision that they made for themselves. See, I knew marriage is terrible, so let's find everything terrible about your marriage as well. All under the guise of being supportive to you. So that's kind of what you want to discern is, not everybody that's your friend or cares about you necessarily is a friend of your marriage. Try to learn the difference. Is this person my friend? Or is this person a friend of my marriage? And if you get that sense that this person is, wanting to put down your spouse or wanting to put down the institution of marriage, you might say something to them like, look, I understand what you're saying, but, if they're telling you that, well, there's no way I would put up with that, and I can't believe it, all men are jerks, and blah, blah, blah. You might try saying something like, I understand what you're saying. I understand why you feel like that, but it's not really helpful to me because I've already made the decision that I'm not giving up. I've already made the decision that I'm not quitting my marriage. And so, I would appreciate it if you could help me think of ways that I can make my marriage better, or help me be a better, husband to my wife. And that would probably put an end to it, because that makes it very clear that I don't want you to just tell me what I want to hear. Remember that song by Billy Joel? There's plenty of people, that'll tell you what you want to hear, but what he's looking for is honesty. That song Honesty by Billy Joel. We want our friends not just to support us by building us up, telling us we're right and telling us, but we want friends, that will help us see our own flaws, our own failures, so that we can improve ourselves and improve our marriage for real. That's what we need. It may not be easy for us to hear, but that's what we need. Realize, sometimes your friends, especially your single friends, they may want you to be single again, because then it would restore the old relationship. You guys could go out and go to the places you used to haunt together, as singles. You could get back into that singles lifestyle, that single scene. And so there may be sort of like, an unspoken desire to see your marriage come to an end, because then you could be free again and you could go out with us and we could have fun again. We'd have another person that we could add to our group when we go out, as a group. So, all kinds of studies have been done to verify that married people, have more intimacy, and I mean that physically, sexual relationship, than single people. And remember that every marriage, just like every vehicle, can be maintained and can be restored, and brought to not only a good place but a great place, if you'll put in the time and the effort and the work. But it's going to take some intention. It's going to take some effort. Raising a family together and seeing those kids grow up and move through the high school years and become young adults, and then having grandkids and getting rooted in a community and paying off a house and all these things that come with time, they don't happen easily. They don't happen quickly. They happen over a long amount of time with a steady focus and steady commitment. And you want friends that'll join you in your commitment and help you by being supportive of your marriage. Sometimes the things people say to you, when they're being quote unquote, supportive of you, would be accurate statements if they were talking about your job. If you said, boy, my boss is really a jerk and he's really laying the work on me and it's not fair. And then they come in and they say, man, I don't know that I would put up with that. I think I'd probably, think about quitting that job and go over here and get a job at, that's okay when you're talking about a job. Or if you're dating somebody, Roger's not treating me very nice and he said some mean things to me and he doesn't get along with my mom, and then okay, I can understand why somebody might come and say, well, I don't know, Roger kind of seems like a jerk. Honestly, I hate to tell you that, but we've all been talking, and I think you could do a lot better. That might be okay to say to somebody who's dating or about somebody's job, but you're talking about, you stood in front of your family and friends and made a vow, made a commitment, a covenant to love this person till death do you part. And you meant that when you said it. You took that seriously. And I think we kind of live in a culture now that has made such a shift. You're swimming upstream, you're paddling upstream. We've talked about that. You're paddling upstream to have a 50-year marriage in this culture. Just think, probably 30 years ago, people told 30, 40 years ago, I'm sure the older folks, your grandparents, your parents' generation, they may have erred a little too far in the other direction. You've got a husband that's abusive to his wife, or gambling all the money away, drinking all the money away, slapping the kids around, being just a brute. And, the advice they probably would have gotten from their neighbors and family and friends was just grin and bear it, Martha, just grin and bear it. And it's just, you're going to have to put up with it. You can't get a divorce. And they probably erred to the other extreme. Now, it's like with this consumer mentality that we have in our culture, that if for any reason, you're not feeling psychologically cared for, if for any reason you feel like, your needs aren't being met to the degree that you think they should, on the time schedule that you think they should be met, then, maybe we ought to just cut our losses and run. Maybe we should just cut our losses and just, just recognize that this love is over, recognize that this is just fizzled out. You guys have grown your separate ways. And there's a lot of different, euphemisms for saying that love is no longer there. Well, I think that our culture has made such a shift that that's the new norm. If I'm not feeling what I hope to be feeling, then I don't love you anymore. But love is more than just a feeling. Every parent knows that with their own kids, is there's time. No mom, no dad wants to get up in the middle of the night and change diapers, wants to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning with a crying baby and then wake up at 6 in the morning with a toddler that wants to get up, because they've had a good night's sleep. And so you gotta, you go to bed late with one and wake up early with the other. No parent enjoys all of that interruptions and all of that, and the baby's doesn't care jack about your wants or desires, and yet you still can love that baby and you can still love that toddler, because you've made a decision to. It's your responsibility to. And again, it's strange that we'll do that stuff for our kids. We'll do that stuff for even our parents or grandparents, maybe brothers and sisters. And then this consumer mindset tells us that if for some reason I don't feel like my wife is living up to my expectations, then I need to submit a formal complaint, and I need to maybe cut my losses and run if for some reason I don't think that. Now, I know this is not probably what you're going to hear on televisions, right? Not what you hear from your friends and family. And I hope you're seeking a higher course for your home and a higher course for your marriage. And maybe, who knows what you're going through right now? You may be miserable in your marriage. I don't know. Who knows? And this can be hard to hear, I understand that. And that's why I want these videos to be supportive of you. I don't mean to be condemning of anybody. I don't want to point fingers at you and yell at you and shame you in any way. I want to be like a cheerleader that says, come on, you can do this. I know it might be tough right now, but part of the reason it's tough is because we have in our culture this expectation that this other person exists to make me happy. And when they don't, and they're never going to do that perfectly, no matter how hard they tried, then we get this entitlement mentality kicks in, and we start to get frustrated because we don't feel like we're getting what we deserve, or we're not getting the payback out of this marriage that we expect. And I'm not saying lower your expectations. I think a lot of people have done that. They've just kind of resigned themselves to marriage stinks, and husbands are gross, and wives are tyrants or whatever, and so just lower your expectations, get a hobby, and just do your best at being roommates. Kind of like, I feel a lot better now that I've given up hope. I'm not saying lower your expectations. I'm saying come back to the expectations that you made when you made your commitment. Your expectation is I will love you. I will love you. I will show love to you. I will generate love for you, even when I don't necessarily feel like I'm being responded to the way I would want to. Keep your focus on, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? How can I love you? How can I take care of you? You will keep yourself busy trying to figure out ways that you can express love. And you say, well, where am I supposed to get that love from? Because I'm not feeling it. Well, okay, that's the reason I'm in ministry right there, is where does that love come from when you don't have it to give? Okay, and I'll just let you answer that question. I don't want to preach at you, but I think you know where I'm going, is you've got to be able to tap into a source of love that's greater than you. Now, your people in your life that are special to you and close to you, like maybe you're close to your mom or your dad, or close to an old friend or something, that have big hearts and love you and all that, they can support you in that love, and they can help, sort of fill up that love tank in your life. But there's got to be some source that you can go to all the time, where you can tap into a love that never dies, that always, is renewed, that can fill you up when you don't feel loved, when you don't feel like your spouse is loving you, and you don't feel like the people in your life are taking care of you. There has to be a place where you can go, where you can get in touch once again with truth, that I am loved, no matter what I've done, no matter how much mess I've made. I am loved, and that love tank can fill, and the Lord can fill that love tank. Okay, but you got to be open to that, and you got to be willing to receive that. And once you can get kind of grounded again, that no matter what my wife says, or my husband says about me, or my kids say about me, or my boss says about me, I'm loved, and and you experience that love, then maybe you're better able to show that unmerited love to people in your life that may. But see, if you don't have that source of love, where's your love going to come from? Okay, all right. So sometimes people in your life who are well-meaning can sabotage your marriage, and they're maybe not trying to, but that's the effect. Is that they sort of reinforce that mentality that you deserve better than this. You deserve better than this, and you're not getting your fair shake, and so you need to shake them off, shake loose of them. And do what I did. That's kind of the mentalities. And do what I did. I wouldn't put up with that. I wouldn't take that. So you ought to do what I did. I got free from that. And so should you. But you got to get alone for a minute and ask yourself, is that really what I want? Is that really what I want? I hear Leroy telling me what I should do. Or I hear Lorraine telling me what I should do. But is this really what I want? Do I want the marriage to be over? Because that seems like the easy path maybe right now. That may seem like in the short run the easy path, but there's nothing easy about it. There's not, it isn't just a quick one-time fix and it's over. All right, so let's see. When you got people in your life that maybe aren't very accepting of this new person, maybe you married somebody who's a different religion or different race or different whatever, they come from a different side of town or who knows what, and you got people in your family that, they're not so sure, they haven't gotten on board with your marriage. There you go. Let's just put it that way. They're not on board with your marriage. Then, the author says you might try this broken record approach. Basically, you're not trying to change your family's opinion of the person, because that's impossible. Realize also, whoever's related to that extended family, it's your problem. So let's say the wife is married to, a guy that her parents, her biological family, isn't all that impressed by. Whose problem is it? It's the wife's problem, because you're the one in the middle. You're the one that's stuck between your parents on the one hand and your husband on the other, okay? Now, you've made a commitment to enter this new family. So this husband is your new family, all right? The parents are the outsiders now. And it's important that you keep that in mind, is the person you married is your family now. And the biological family that's connected to you is your secondary family. That's your kin, okay? But it's not your home. It's not your home. Your home is your spouse, all right? But you're the one that's stuck between these two forces, so you're the one that's going to have to be the primary person that the responsibility falls on in handling it. Maybe you've tried to distance yourself and get your husband to fix it, or the other person to fix it. You're not trying to get, at the end of the day, you're not trying to get your extended family to change their mind about this. You don't need to argue for them to try to change their mind about this person. All you're trying to do is get them on board with, hey, I'm married to this person now, and we come as a package deal, and you accept us both or you reject us both. And the broken record point that the author talks about is, you're just going to say the same thing over and over until they get it. And the same thing over and over is, look, let's lay some ground rules. You know that I've married this person and I love them. And we want to come home on holidays to see you because we love you as my parents. We love you. But we can't, every time we get together, listen to how bad his religion is, or listen to how bad, his political party is, or we're not going to listen to that. So there's going to be a certain level of respect that has to be showed to my husband or to my wife for us to be able to come home. We'd love to be able to come home, but if we can't have that kind of respect in our house, then we're not going to be coming home. And just that constant, as many times as that needs to be said until it's understood. And until they're willing to show that level of respect. That's what you're looking for, is your behavior. I don't care if I change your mind, and I don't care if I change your attitudes. Your behavior needs to change. If we're going to come home and we're going to act like a family, then there's got to be some patience and some tolerance and some acceptance. And everybody, is entitled to that kind of understanding. So the broken record is, look, we've already talked about this. We're not going to be telling these political jokes, at my husband's expense or at my wife's expense. So broken record, we just keep saying that. And then if it doesn't work, then the next time that there's a time to get together, I don't think we're coming. What do you mean you're not coming? Well, you remember last time we came, everybody thought it was funny to pick on my wife? Well, we're not doing that. Okay, so you're putting a wedge or a break a little bit in that relationship. You're distancing yourself from those that are being tyrants against your spouse, and showing that my loyalty is here with this spouse. We're on the same team. And then, hopefully the next time there's a get together, we'll be able to come and you guys will understand that I mean business, that we're serious, that we're going to be a family and we're going to treat each other with respect. Okay, I thought that was a good point. Very helpful. Because I know a lot of times when I'm working with couples, this kind of stuff, it also happens in families that are blended families, where there's an ex-spouse involved, and that sometimes the ex-husband or the ex-wife, hopefully you've worked out to an amicable relationship for you and for the kids and all that. But usually there's kind of two dangers. Either the ex-spouse will be belligerent and difficult and ugly and, just a tyrant, and you feel like you're stuck between your new husband and your ex-husband, and you're just trying to like peacekeep all the time. Or you could have the other extreme where you get along with your ex better than you ever did as a couple, and now you're kind of like you've got two men in your life. You got your new husband, but you really like to stay on the phone and talk to your ex-husband, and maybe that relationship's become a little too comfortable that it can cause suspicion and raise doubts and fears in your current marriage. And so it can be an enemy of your marriage either way. Just keep this point in mind when it comes to like ex-husbands or ex-wives, is you're not stuck in the middle between the two. You're not stuck in the middle between your ex-husband and your new husband, or your ex-wife and your new wife. Don't be in the middle. Join your new spouse, okay? And be careful about being a warrior against your ex, because that takes too much energy away from your new marriage. You don't want to spend all your time arguing and frustrated about what your ex is doing or not doing. And you also don't want to become too chummy in such a way that it raises fears and suspicions and all that with your new spouse. Don't be stuck in the middle with this. Pick a side, and the side you need to pick is with your new husband or your new wife, and make sure there's some distance in a healthy way between you and your ex, okay? So what else? What else is helpful here? What else? I talked about people saying things that are friendly to you, but they're really a double-edged sword. When they say things like, you deserve better than this, or you're not being treated right, or that's completely out of line. I never would stand for something like that. Why are you still holding out hope, and all this? So those things can be double-edged comments. The idea is you should be happy at all costs, and your spouse isn't making you happy, so you need to do something. Well, maybe you need to just, invest in your marriage, work to restore your marriage, continue to demonstrate love, respect for each other, and maybe enroll in a marriage class, or start reading some marriage books, or, maybe the quick fix isn't necessarily the best fix. Let's see. So sometimes those friends are adding fuel to the fire rather than helping your home. Okay. Again, a lot of people have low expectations of marriage, and so they kind of have, the thrill is gone. I think old BB King, the thrill is gone. The thrill is gone. They kind of have that attitude about marriage, like, well, you just hope for the best. You lower your expectations and just try to endure, just try to make it through it. But the reality is most of the time those people have kind of stopped giving their marriage the attention it deserves. They've stopped working on their marriage. They've stopped being invested, stopped being present to their marriage. They kind of have the idea that it's just the way it is and everybody knows it, and but that isn't just the way it is. There's no reason why you guys can't be on the same page, and there's no reason why you can't be happy and joy, and you can't find that joy back once again in your home. The challenge in dealing with all kinds of messages from others about marriage is, listen to this, is to hold your course while understanding that everybody else is going to take their own course. I think that's a good way to kind of end this chapter, and a good way to end this video is, you've made a decision to take a high road, and just stay on that road and recognize that not everybody is going to choose that, and that's on them, that's up to them. But for me, I want to do things differently, and one of the ways I want to be different is I want to be present to life. I want to fully be here. I want to fully show up and fully be present in my marriage, fully be present in my kids' life, and fully be present to life. And I know you do too. So until next time, wish you the best, guys. Be present to life. See you later. Bye.